On the night of December 20th, 1989, while most of the world slept, the United States launched one of the largest military operations in Latin America. Since World War II, more than 27,000 American troops crossed into the small, Central American nation of Panama, overwhelming its defenses in a matter of hours. The operation was called Operation Just Cause, but to much of the world, it looked like a sudden, brutal invasion. At the center of this storm was one man, General Manuel Noriega. Noriega was once a trusted ally of the United States. For years, he worked closely with American intelligence agencies, including the CIA, while serving as the de facto ruler of Panama. But by the late 1980s, the relationship collapsed. Noriega was accused by the US government of drug trafficking, election fraud, and using Panama as a transit hub for cocaine flowing into North America. In 1988, a US federal court indicted him on drug charges, an unprecedented move against a sitting foreign leader. Tensions escalated rapidly. In May 1989, Noriega annulled democratic elections after losing badly. Protests were crushed. Opposition leaders were beaten. Then, in December, a US Marine officer was killed at a Panamanian checkpoint. 4 days later, Washington made its decision. President George H.W. Bush announced that the invasion was necessary to protect American lives, defend democracy, combat drug trafficking, and secure the Panama Canal, one of the most strategically vital waterways on Earth. The attack was swift and overwhelming. US forces struck dozens of targets simultaneously: airports, military bases, and command centers. Panama's defense forces collapsed within days. Entire neighborhoods, including El Corrillo, were heavily damaged during the fighting. Civilian casualties remained deeply contested. US estimates spoke of hundreds killed. Independent groups and Panamanian organizations claim the number may have reached thousands. What is certain is that Panama was stunned. Manuel Noriega fled and took refuge inside the Vatican embassy in Panama City. For days, US troops surrounded the building, blasting loud rock music in a psychological pressure campaign. On January 3, 1990, Noriega surrendered. He was flown to the United States, tried, convicted, and sentenced to prison. The first time in modern history that the US captured and jailed a foreign head of government. In Panama, a new US-backed government was installed, and control of the country was stabilized within weeks. The positive side of this event is that Panama eventually transitioned towards civilian rule, and the Panama Canal remained secure, later passing fully into Panamanian control in 1999. The negative side is more complex. The invasion raised serious questions about international law, civilian protection, and the right of powerful nations to remove foreign leaders by force. Across Latin America, it reinforced long-standing fears of American military dominance and intervention. Why does this matter today? Because Operation Just Cause became a blueprint. It shaped how the United States would later justify interventions from Iraq to Afghanistan, using language of security, democracy, and protection. It reminds us that global power is rarely exercised quietly, and that the consequences of intervention are often felt longest by civilians. History is not old. History is living inside us. One day, one event, one lesson. Mr. Fidi,